Hi everyone, it's Miss Sims here. Today we are starting a new project and it is all about something called pop art. And pop art used to be really popular. That's kind of where the name pop came from. And it uses a lot of really cool and bright colors. I'm going to teach you a little bit about what pop art is, a person named Andy Warhol who made pop art very famous, and then we will get started with our project. I'm ready. I hope you are too. Let's do it. Andy Warhol is a very famous artist, and he is famous because he is essentially seen as the father of pop art. He is the person in the black and white photo in the corner, and then you can see some of his artwork around him. So one has a lot of faces and all different bright colors. That's a style of pop art. Same with the dog, those bright colors that don't really match what colors we normally see. And then in the top corner you see a bunch of cans of soup. This is something that he became really famous for. And we are going to kind of take pieces of all different Andy Warhol artwork and we are going to combine them together to make our own piece of art. So today's pop art, we are going to do part 1 of this leaf project. You will not finish it this time. That's okay. Next week we will work on finishing this project. As usual, we have 2 big goals for the day. The first one is to use repetition in artwork. Repetition means repeating, so we're going to use the same idea more than once. We're going to use leaves more than once in our artwork. We're also going to use space on our paper purposefully. We're going to do it as carefully as possible. We'll make sure we have 4 different sections, so we have a section for 4 different leaves, and then we're going to make sure we use the space in each section so that each leaf is not too big and not too small. Before we get started, you'll need to get your materials out. You'll need 2 pieces of paper, a pencil or something to draw with, and a ruler or something that's straight so that we can make some straight lines. Now that we have all of our information and we're ready to go, don't forget that as I'm going through this video, I fast forward mine so it speeds up and you don't have to watch me draw the whole thing. So take your time as you go. Feel free to pause the video whenever you need to. So first thing is I'm going to get my paper out and something to draw with. I would recommend using pencil, but I'm going to use marker so that you can see it a little bit better on my screen. And then you'll get your ruler or something straight. I don't have a ruler handy, so I'm just going to use the edge of a folder, which is nice and straight. You're going to lay that straight item down, whether it's a ruler, a piece of paper, whatever it is that you're going to make your straight line with. And you're going to cut your piece of paper in half with a line. So we're not actually cutting, remember we're drawing, but don't worry if it's not exactly half. So if you watch me do mine ends up being a little bit more room on the bottom than there is on top. That is perfectly fine, don't worry about it. Now that you have 2 sections, you are going to take each section and cut that in half. It doesn't have to be perfect, so I'm going to make one section a little bit smaller than the other on this side. Here we go, let me draw my line. All right, so you can see that one section is a smaller corner, one section is now a longer rectangle, and that's perfectly fine, and your lines don't have to line up. So now in my bigger square that I made earlier, I'm going to cut that one in half again so that we have 4 total chunks by the time we're done. And here we go. So now I've got 4 different size squares. If yours all are the exact same size, that's fine. If they're different, that's good too. We are going to take this piece of paper and put it over to the side and get our second piece out. This piece is going to end up just being a scratch piece of paper for us to practice on. When you're ready, we're going to practice drawing different leaf shapes. I'm going to show you a couple on here. So one good leaf shape that's pretty easy is to do a round bottom with a pointy top. And then I connect it so there's a point on top and a round bottom. And then I kind of connect it towards the bottom, and then I make a little stem where the leaf would normally attach to the tree or whatever plant it's on. And then we make these little, they're kind of like little veins. And this is how the leaves get their nutrients. You've probably seen them if you look really closely at a leaf. Now I'm going to draw all these little lines that go through the leaf where it gets its nutrients from, so it looks really real and natural. Right now is your chance to practice any different leaf shapes that you want. Maybe you know of some leaves that you want to try drawing. This is just your practice piece of paper, so do whatever you want. If you're not sure what to draw, you can always follow me. I'm just going to try some random different leaf shapes that I think might look cool. Or something you can do with a grown-up or sibling if you get permission first is to take a little walk outside and see what leaves you see outside and try and copy what those look like. That's another great way to practice. It doesn't have to just be one single leaf either. You can make kind of like a branch that has lots of little leaves coming off of it. You can make a little 4-leaf clover. You can do whatever type of plant leaf you think. You'll also probably want to try some different sizes, some small leaves and some big leaves, just so you get some practice. Go ahead and pause the video here until you're done practicing your different leaf shapes. Once you're done practicing, we're going to take our practice paper, we're going to move it over to the side and bring back our regular paper that has the 4 different sections we already created earlier in this video. You are going to look at your practice paper and decide, what leaves might look good in each section. So I'm picking one that's kind of long and will fit nice in this nice long rectangle section I have here. If you want, you can do the exact same leaf in all of the different sections. But if you're going to do that, you need to make sure that you make it smaller in the small sections and you make it bigger in the big sections. Remember, one of our goals is space. So we need to fill up the space nicely so you can tell the leaf is nice and big in the section that it's in. We don't want it so big so that it falls out of the section that we created, but we don't want it so small that we can't see it and there's too much space behind it. Make sure that you're only adding 1 leaf to each box and that you're adding all of the details in now so that it's ready for next week. Once each box has a leaf in it, you are done for the week and we will finish next week on the coloring. Since we're only partway through the project, you do not need to send me a picture of it. You can just tell me that you finished it or that you are working on it, and that is good enough for me. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you next week for part 2 of our pop art leaves.